So this is a phone that might not have ever made it to market thanks to the US-China trade bans, but luckily that has kind of been resolved for now at least. So with that said, here is our review of the Honor 20 Pro. Thanks for watching 9to5 Google on YouTube. Be sure to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Let's start by saying it's a real shame that buyers in the US won't officially be able to get yet another cracking Honor handset. For the price, this is a fantastic smartphone. The design isn't exactly the most inspired, but the phantom black or purpley colour is quite striking and different from the rest of the market, make no mistakes about it. I have to say I do love the curved back, as it also helps the phone nestle into your palm comfortably, which is important as the side-mounted fingerprint reader is the only true biometric security that comes with the Honor 20 Pro. I must say I have disabled the option though, as I can't say I like these side-mounted options. I can't imagine it will be fun for left-handed people out there either. Of course, with this being a cheaper than average flagship phone, it does mean there are a few cutbacks here and there. The first being the side-mounted fingerprint reader, the second being the display. This is in fact an LCD display, and you can tell it isn't quite up to snuff with some of the AMOLED panels from Huawei, but it isn't terrible by any stretch. Viewing angles are pretty good and it does get nice and bright in direct sunlight. I just would have preferred the colour depth and contrast offered by an AMOLED panel. As I say, this isn't a bad LCD display by any stretch. The punch hole is handled well, and according to Honor, it's one of the smallest on the market. I find it stays out of the way and I like the positioning, all things said. My only other problem is in fact the haptics, which are some of the worst I've ever experienced on a smartphone. My advice will be just disable them, because the tinny, hollow feeling is just not much fun to deal with day to day. Okay, so right, that's the gripes out of the way first. The rest of this phone is pretty much exceptional, although the software is pretty subjective. Magic UI 2.1 flies thanks to the Kirin 980 and 6 or 8GB of RAM. Make no mistakes, they are genuinely flagship internals. Because of that, the Honor 20 Pro goes toe to toe with anything on the market, no question. Gaming, general browsing and everyday usage is all a piece of cake. Then the 4000 mAh battery keeps you going all day and then beyond. Now, one of the biggest selling points of the Honor 20 Pro is the camera hardware. It isn't quite as good as the P30 Pro, but it does genuinely come very close. You do get a 48 megapixel main sensor, 16 megapixel wide angle, 8 megapixel telephoto and a 2 megapixel macro lens. It's quite the solid selection that gives you plenty of options right out of the box. Stills images have great dynamic range, are sharp, and make no mistake, this is one of the very best camera systems on the market today. If you're a predominantly video shooter, you'll be pleased to hear that the Honor 20 Pro holds up here well too. The OIS helps you get nice stable videos, plus you can record in almost all modes, although only up to 30 FPS in 4K. Now, the complete package at around £549 here in the UK is really compelling, but the lack of official availability in the US means that unless you're willing to import, it's much harder to recommend. My advice would be, if you are in the US, to stick with a Pixel 3a for instance, or up your budget slightly and pick up the superb OnePlus 7 Pro. Although that was a super quick rundown of what makes the Honor 20 Pro such a fantastic device, I'd love to know what you think. Would you like to see Honor and Huawei on the US market sometime in the near future? Let us know in the comments section below. So with all that said, subscribe if you want to see more content just like this, but as per usual, this is Damien with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, so until next time, I will speak to you later.